Thank you, Leah, and yeah, a packed house here. Thank you very much that you traded off your lunch break against listening to Gen AI. I have the pleasure to share a couple of thoughts about Gen AI and how we in Booking see Gen AI and apply Gen AI to really transform the industry. One thing is for sure, what we've seen over the last 2.5 years is this is not an evolution, this is a revolution. And as Booking.com, we believe that we are obviously one of the leading tech travel companies, and we believe that we're really at the forefront and well positioned to experiment with Gen AI and to apply Gen AI. Gen AI has obviously been on top of most probably all of our mind for approximately the last 2.5 years. OpenAI released ChatGPT to all of us in November 2022. And after that, I think there was a lot of discussion. Well, is this going to become kind of blockchain reloaded, something that is very promising, but we see very slow adoption. And I think by now we know this is not the case. For us in Booking.com, artificial intelligence and machine learning is not something that is new. We are very experienced with these technologies, and we apply these technologies already for more than a decade. We have hundreds of machine learning models in place. We use them for different use cases for our customers to make our offers more relevant. And then we also use it more in the back end. We use it for language translation. We use it for pricing, or, for example, for fraud detection. When we talk about Gen AI, we think in 3 different buckets. The bucket number 1 is we're really focusing very much on internal productivity. And for internal productivity, we use applications, tools that are applicable for all of you. Our software engineers, they're using coding assistants in order to become more effective in software developing. We're using tools to summarize customer center calls, for example. And we encourage all our colleagues, they all have access to enterprise Gen AI assistants, and we encourage them very actively to use them and to learn and share experiences so that we can really become more productive internally. The second bucket is we are using Gen AI to improve all our machine learning models that I already referred to earlier on, to make them more agile and to improve them on a continuous basis. And then the last bucket, that is most probably the one that is most visible and the one that is most exciting, is to really make sure that we understand our travelers' intent much better and to structure offerings that are more relevant for our travelers and ultimately for our partners, all with a focus and an objective to make it easier to transact on our platform, which is obviously a 2-sided marketplace. Now, you could ask, well, great that we have all this technology, but do travelers actually believe that this technology adds value, and do travelers really trust in Gen AI? We do a lot of research, and the latest consumer travel research that we conducted was in October last year. We asked 27,000 customers in 33 different countries about use of technology and whether they trust in technology. 48% of all the respondents said, yes, we do trust Gen AI when it comes to planning. So we would feel comfortable, or we feel comfortable using Gen AI for the planning stage of a trip. 2/3 of the respondents said, we also feel very confident to use technology when it comes to find kind of hidden gems in a city, attractions, activities that I can do in a specific destination. And another 2/3, they said that they're using technology very actively in order to find destinations that are not really overcrowded. So quite encouraging results, I would say. So then the question is, a lot of opportunities that we have with this new technology, but what is the key impact for the travelers, but also for our partners that transact with us? The most important one is really understanding the traveler intent better, to make sure that we offer more relevant content to travelers. So what does that actually mean in practice? I give you an example. We now have a much better understanding if somebody is a female solo traveler, for example, or a family with 2 underage kids. And based on that, we, for example, surface a different property description. So we make the description of the respective hotel much more relevant for the traveler's intent. The second one is OTAs are really good when it comes to search, book, and pay. So that's actually the core kind of the thing that an online travel agency does. Until now, we were not very good in the planning phase, right? You came to Booking or to some of our competitors when you knew the destination and you knew the period when you wanted to travel. Now with Gen AI, it's much different. You can actually start much earlier in already the planning phase. For example, you can say, well, I want to go in November to a beach destination where it's 24 degrees. Or you can also be very specific and say, I am looking for a 5-star hotel in Barcelona near the Sagrada Family. So that planning phase becomes now much more relevant for us as online travel agencies. And there is also a big benefit for our partners, because currently we're very, very dependent on content that our partners provide us about their properties. And now with Gen AI, we can take information from significantly or from additional sources. We're actually looking at pictures, so we're reading the pictures that our partners supply us, or we also take the content from customer reviews, which provide us a lot of information. So what have we done in Booking so far? Our kind of flagship product is what we launched in June 2023. This is our Gen AI trip planner. And this is, and I already referred to that a little bit, it's a conversational user interface. So it's kind of a chat function where you start with very high-level questions. I want to go to a beach destination in November where it's warm, for example, and then you can drill down further and further, and the selection of options becomes more and more targeted. We were the first ones at that time, so the first OTA, that actually also offered a book widget in the conversational user interface. So you were able to click on the hotel picture. We gave you a selection of hotels, and then clicking on that widget, you were directed directly into the book process. That was something that was absolutely revolutionary at this point in time. But we've also developed other things such as smart filters or property Q&As. But usually images show much more than words, hence we're going to look at the quick video that summarizes what we have in place today.
Olivia is planning a family getaway, but finding a spot that works for her young kids and her elderly mom well, let's call it a little tricky. She's not quite sure where to start. Olivia opens Booking.com's AI trip planner to help spark some destination ideas. She is looking for a warm, budget, and family-friendly beach vacation in the south of Europe in May. Looks like she has a few options, but nothing is going to beat Crete. Olivia sees so many potential property options that she needs help narrowing it down. Using the Smart Filter feature, she can easily look for properties that meet all of her needs, as well as cater to her mom's accessibility requirements. This one looks good. However, she still has a few questions. Using the property Q&A feature, Olivia can ask about those finer details she knows her mom's going to want to know, like, does the hotel have an elevator and walk-in showers? And before hitting book, a quick summary of guest reviews makes her feel confident that this is the place for her and her family. With the help of Booking.com's AI-powered features, Olivia can book a vacation that works for everyone. Fast, simple, and totally tailored to her family.
And this is not in the distant future. This is live in the US, in the UK, Australia, New Zealand, and Singapore, and we're launching that across European markets during the coming months. So what is next? What do we have in store? We're still experimenting on various fronts, and things that are very close to launch is a Gen AI trip assistant, where we're actually focusing on the post-booking environment, making it significantly easier for customers to manage the booking, ask questions about the existing booking. We're launching a car rental pickup assistant, where it's also much easier for customers to understand what documentation, for example, that you need to pick up a car. And we're also started to experiment with agentic AI. We have a partnership with OpenAI. Agentic AI is basically a robot or a bot that behaves like a human. And we did some experiments where we asked the agent to do a reservation. And as a customer, you can then actually really see what the robot or the agent does on the website. It's still a little bit clunky. It's not as smooth yet, but we're quite convinced that in 6 months from now, these problems will also be solved. Also quite interesting to do this as an experiment, because if the agent has a problem in a certain step in the book process, it's quite likely that the human also has a problem during that step. So it's a great indication of where there is improvement across the user experience. And then we're also thinking quite a lot about how search is going to develop. Currently, we still generate a lot of traffic and a lot of demand via Google, via paid marketing. So I think there the jury is still out. How is that going to evolve with all these new Gen AI startups? So very exciting, and we believe that Gen AI is kind of at an inflection point in society. It will really change our industry, but it will also change the way how we conduct simple tasks, day-to-day tasks. So therefore, my ask, or kind of my encouragement to all of you, if you already started to play with Gen AI, then keep playing. If not, take some time, start to play. It's exciting. It's also a little bit frightening. It's mind-boggling, but most importantly, it's the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matthias. That was intense. So a lot to look out for.
Yes.
Thank you very much for this briefing, and I'm thrilled I have you for some more minutes to sit down. That's luxury. Yeah, a lot on AI, right? And AI is evolving rapidly, no question. How do you see AI shaping the travel experience in the next 3 to 5 years, and what should we prepare for? What's the biggest shift to watch out for?
I think it's difficult to say, right, what's happening in the next 3 to 5 years, because so far everything happened significantly faster than what we've dreamed about. I think the focus was very much, okay, the existing large language models will improve on a continuous basis, and then all of a sudden we're now kind of exposed to agentic AI, something, again, that happens significantly faster. For the customer, I think what really changes most is that these Gen AI tools will really understand customer intent significantly better. So I think in the level of personalization, this is where we will see massive, massive progress.
Right. Well, I look forward to that. Like, personalization means also better experience, right? So keyword personalization, travelers expect that and are also increasingly concerned about privacy, right? So this is a bit of an oxymoron if you look at it. So how does Booking.com ensure trust while still leveraging AI and keep playing with it?
I mean, trust and basically securing privacy is one of the key topics for us as a large platform anyway, independent also from Gen AI. But what we did is we currently integrate with, I believe, 4 or 5 different large language models. And over the last 18 months, we built Gen AI integration layers. So we built a layer that integrates with these different large language models. And then the integration layer also decides kind of which language model suits best. And in this integration layer, we actually built in all the privacy checks. We make sure that there is no hallucination. So there are a lot of checks that are happening. And this architecture now allows us to really democratize Gen AI across the entire organization. So we really have now all of our product and engineering teams have access, can use large language models, but still in this kind of secure and protected environment. And this is maybe also important to mention. Very often if we talk about Gen AI, it kind of sounds like this is plug and play, right? Yes, it is plug and play on small scale. You can use ChatGPT or other applications, but if you apply it on an enterprise level, it's complex.
Right, understood. Thank you for sharing that. And many travel companies, right? We have a big heterogeneity in the ecosystem. We have small ones, we have bigger ones. And how do you see the role of AI in leveling the playing field between large and small providers in travel?
This is an interesting one, and it goes a little bit back to just what I said about, well, it's not that easy and it's complex. I think there are certain use cases where Gen AI will level the playing field. One example that I can think of, Booking.com is, I think we have currently 43 or 45 languages across our platform, so everything is translated into these languages. A lot of effort. We already used machine learning models to do the translation before Gen AI. So this becomes significantly easier with Gen AI. So I think now if you had an English website, you can easily translate that in unlimited number of languages. So I think from that point of view, that is an example where I think we will see the playing field will be leveled. But again, if it's related to more complex use cases, I think then again, it's a lot of effort, it's a lot of investment, and it takes time.
Right, good. And you see a lot of AI-powered chatbots, virtual assistants, right? They're on the rise. And do you think the human touch in travel planning and customer service, is this becoming obsolete? And is it even better with a chatbot than maybe, with the actual human? How would it evolve?
Well, if I talk to our CEO, Glenn Fogel, I think he's of the opinion that we will one day get to the stage where artificial intelligence, or that's kind of the core objective, right? The ultimate objective, that we could replace, or technology could replace a human. My personal opinion is this is most probably not the case, or it's still kind of a very, very long way to go. I think the way how we should think about Gen AI is really use it for very repetitive tasks, use it for personalization, but at the end of the day, I think there is always space for us as humans. So we also don't really think that all of a sudden we can operate the business with half of the staff force that we have today. That is absolutely not the case.
Right, okay, that's some good news on the ones maybe being frightened that they lose their jobs on AI. AI thrives on data, we hear that all the time, right? So do you see more opportunities for industry-wide collaboration on data sharing, or even the opposite? I mean, if data is the one driver, do we have then more competition around it in travel?
Yeah, this is also an interesting thing, right? I think the first question is for companies who believe that they own proprietary data. Is this data really proprietary, or is this data already scraped, and is it already part of the large language models? One example would be customer reviews, right? Something that is very, very valuable for companies. But until now, customer reviews are available on all these platforms, and they're pretty open. So most probably, all these large language models already have these customer reviews, so it's not really something that is proprietary. But I think it's really for companies to re-identify which are the core data that are really proprietary, and they should be, and whether they should be protected. So for us, it's kind of all the customer behavior, historic transactions, search behavior, all these things. So I think there we won't really see big industry collaboration, because again, this is kind of the new gold in this new setup.
Right, okay, exciting outlook. And, well, we're almost out of time, but would you be open to some rapid fire questions?
Of course.
Yes, you are? Okay, great. So if you had to describe the future of AI in travel in just one word, what would the word be?
It's revolutionary.
Revolutionary, great. And what's one misconception about AI in travel?
Sorry again?
What's this one misconception about AI in travel?
That it's plug and play and easy.
Right. Good. And then I think I know your answer already when I listened carefully earlier. One piece of advice you'd give to the travel industry leaders navigating AI today?
I think it's, as I already said, it's not something that it's not a choice. I think it's not that that we are all in a position to either choose using AI or not. We all have to, and if you have not already started to play around, then I would encourage you and urge you start playing around and try to start to understand the technology.
Wonderful. I mean, there's some homework to do, I'd say. Thank you so much, Matthias. I really enjoyed this. Thank you for your keynote and sitting down with me. Everyone, the SVP of Accommodations at Booking.com, Matthias Schmid. Thank you. And back to Katie.